And welcome back to another episode of the Bald Guy and the Fat Boy. I'm the Bald Guy with my buddy.
The fat boy?
Oh, sorry, I must have lost you for a second there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Roll.
Roll Tide. All right. Is it a good week for the Roll Tide this week? Are you better now?
Well, ain't no worse.
You ain't no worse.
My basketball team did good. They won this weekend. So
Hey, we'll
yes,
take that as a win.
yes.
So speaking of that, do you want to go ahead and jump into my football team this week, or and your miraculous pick that you had here, or what do you want to do?
I mean, whichever you want to do. I just every now and then
I
you got.
I'll give you credit when you get it right, and you picked that one right.
I tried.
You called both games. You called Notre Dame and Penn State a coin flip. Pretty good game. Notre Dame ended up pulling it out, and then here we go with Texas and Ohio State, which I think was a better game personally, right up until the end. But the score's not indicative of how the game went. But it was a pretty good game in my opinion,
Yeah.
other than the outcome, of course.
Well, it wasn't real good for me. I mean, from what I saw, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. From what I saw, Ohio State versus the Ducks. And what I saw, Texas versus um, Arizona State gave me the cheat sheet for this game, in my opinion. I just saw a much better team versus the Ducks, and a kind of a somebody likes to play with their food too much against the Arizona State Sun Devils. And if you play with your food against Ohio State, let me tell you something. It could even be worse than it turned out against y'all. So that's pretty much the long and the short of it. Y'all lost, they won, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in that game that can come back, but it is what it is.
Question is,
I don't know how you go down there. You can't touchdown to tie it up, immediately give up the big play to go the other way and let them take the lead back going into half. You just
right?
can't do it.
Well, my
You
question is,
take
here's my
what?
question. Now comes in the rearview mirror. My question is, how? I mean, in theory, I mean, Ohio State should beat the ugly off of Notre Dame, but that's why they play the game. Do you have it that way?
I have Ohio State winning, not by as big as I would have thought before this weekend.
Uh, So was there a double negative in there? Because I missed. So how much do you plan on Ohio State winning this game by?
Touchdown, maybe,
Okay.
maybe two if something like the Texas game happens.
Okay. So
And
you
then
got a
it's
relatively close game between Notre Dame and Ohio State.
I think it's going to come
And
down to defense and turnovers.
here's my problem. I'm on the fence about this game. I could go either way. I could see a Ohio State drubbing. I mean, meaning Ohio State drubs Notre Dame. I could see a very close game between Notre Dame and Ohio State. And I also could see a Notre Dame victory. Like is it let's just for instance, they got it down to the fourth quarter and it was 21-17 Ohio State. Oh no, that ain't right. It was 21-17. We'll go with that. 21-17, and Notre Dame does something, and they score a last touchdown to go up 24-21, something like that at the buzzer. So Ohio State don't get a response. I could see Notre Dame winning a game like that. What I don't have is any mindset of Notre Dame blowing Ohio State out.
Yeah, I don't have that either. I don't think anybody's picking that.
I don't got that on my bingo card. I got in my mind. I got two or three different scenarios of how this game should go, and the least of which Notre Dame beating Ohio State really really bad is not one of those. So
That's
I,
probably what's going to happen, though. Now that
but
nobody's expecting that, that's probably where smart money would go.
Notre Dame's going to unleash the beast and just tear their ass up. Excuse my language.
It could. I mean, Ohio State could come out and think that they've already done something
Yeah,
and
I
and
like
overlook them like everybody else has.
I like Alabama did against Georgia after Georgia this year. Overlooked everybody and guess got the crap beat up by everybody.
Yeah, so maybe you should call them
Okay,
up and give them a little personal life experience from that.
I really don't care. I really don't care who wins this game. The only reason I would like to see Notre Dame win it, mainly so all the media will shut up about them not winning since 1988. If I got to hear 1988 one more time, uh, I'm gonna get sick in my mouth.
Okay, well,
I
we don't
think
want
that,
that to happen. So I mean, what you
yeah,
got?
huh?
Just got one more game to deal with. No big deal. One more game. We'll be in.
No, we got one more. We got one more game of that particular that league to deal with. I can get. I mean, if it wasn't on my phone, I could tell you the schedule of some more games to deal with. Starting in April, we got the UFL, and I am sitting on G waiting on O. My Arlington Renegades and my St. Louis Battlehawks and my Birmingham Stallions. I mean, I'm rooting for everything. I'm ready.
Let me. Okay, let me ask you. Do you care more right now about what's going on in the NFL playoffs since the Cowboys are out of it, or what's going on with the head coaching down the league?
Do I care about which one?
Do you care more about the playoffs right now or the coaching searches that are going on?
I care more. I don't care about either one of them things because number one, Jerry Jones is going to do what Jerry Jones is going to do. The Cowboys are not in the playoffs. College football is over because Alabama's out of the playoffs. So the only thing I care about, the only football I care about is what is we got the football that's coming, and that's the UFL that you hate, for the record.
For the record, yes, I do. But so you're already out on the NFL season, or did you watch any playoff games? I mean, I watched some of a couple of them.
Bits and pieces of some of them, but because my team ain't in it, and because I mean, I really don't technically care. I mean, I'll watch the Super Bowl mostly for the commercials and the halftime show, and maybe a little bit about this much of the game because I just don't care.
That do you think comes with being a Cowboys fan after a while? And we hadn't. It's been almost 30 years, so we forgot what it was like for the Super Bowl to be important to us.
Uh, I guess could be some of that in there. Sure, if you're putting me on the couch, I guess I got some calluses when it comes to how the Dallas Cowboys have done since the Jimmy Johnson days, but it is what it is. If it was easier,
I'm just trying to reinvigorate your love for football, like the sport, not just for your team.
coming.
It's not real football.
I don't need to hear that. That's where me and you differ at. And I'm just not in for it.
But I mean, there's the best of the best playoff football going on right now.
See, so okay,
By the
so let me
way,
ask.
first round of the
Okay,
playoffs, home teams have won every game.
real simple. This is a real simple argument. I can win this argument, or I can make in my mind I can win this argument in one thing.
It's the only place that matters, man. It's in your mind. What's up?
In my mind, I can win this argument real easy. And all you gotta do is just be honest. Are you a Texas Ranger fan, sir?
Yeah,
Really? You like the Texas Rangers? What about a Rough Rider fan? Are you a Rough Rider fan? If
no,
you
not really.
somebody gave you a $20 ticket, you and your kids to a $20 Rough Rider game, and it was not going to be 1,000 degrees, and somebody was going to give you buy the tickets for you, and maybe even buy you a drink or something. You wouldn't go to a minor league baseball game?
I have gone before, but it's not exciting baseball most of the time for me.
Okay, but do you consider it to be good baseball?
Most of the time, no, I don't. You go and you see guys having rehab starts out here to where it's not it's just guys getting in work and getting innings and reps out there more than it is actually people trying to win a baseball game.
But you don't poo poo on it and boycott it and talk down about it and all those things.
I don't go because it's minor league baseball. It's not that important to me.
Okay. Well, I understand. Okay, but there are, as you well know, there is a fan base that just loves it. Well, what I compare the UFL to is just the minor leagues to either. Well, it's almost become the minor leagues to the NFL, and it might even be minor leagues to college, which is fine, but it's still okay football, just like minor league baseball is okay baseball. And it's, I mean, for some of us that are fans of it, like watching that. For
It's
some,
okay baseball, but it doesn't mean anything. The only reason you would go there is to watch somebody that might be something
wait
on
a
another
minute,
level.
I can counteract that argument. Who's your? You're a Dallas Cowboy fan, correct?
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
your kicker returner?
Again, that's the only reason you might go is to see potential talent that may make it to the league. You're not going to get invested in a team or anything like that.
Just speak for yourself. I'm a big. I mean, I am a fan of the Texas Rangers farm system, which would be Rough Riders and um,
When's the last time you went to a game?
I went to a
Watch
Rough
the minor league game.
uh,
TV, Facebook, any of that. When's the last time you watched it?
Rough Rider game last year.
No?
Last year.
You went to a game?
No, you said TV or anything. I
Yeah, yeah.
watched the Rough Rider game on television. I
What
was
channel?
It was on Channel 21.
It is tough to find minor league baseball games on TV.
Yeah, they put them on TV over here all the time.
You know why it's hard to find? Because most people don't want to watch it.
Well, anyhow, so but the point I'm trying to make is without denigrating the whole sport, the whole thing as a whole.
I'm not denigrating it. It's developmental league is all it is. Okay. It's great.
Yeah,
Accept it for what it is.
a developmental league that your team that you're a fan of has greatly benefited from.
Yeah. A team that I'm a fan of that I care what happens to them. Their minor league team, their record means nothing to me. Wins, losses doesn't mean anything to me. They could be Cactus League champions or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I want to see the big league club do what it does.
Well, but with minor league success, you'll have a lot of people tell you this. With minor league success, at some point comes major league success.
On
Not
an
all.
individual level. Individual level. If somebody can go out there and throw a bunch of no-hit innings, if they could go out there and hit a bunch of home runs, a lot of times that will show itself up or at least show that they're dominating where they're at and they need a chance to go try it at the next level. But
So
nobody's sitting there saying the Rough Riders won 3-1 and a nail biter and they're all excited.
so we have, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, we have Aubrey that came from that league. We have Turpin that came from that league. So therefore, if anybody ought to be a fan of it, it ought to be somebody getting the benefits of that developmental league.
But you're not a fan of the league. You're a fan of the players that are better than
I'm
that
a fan
league.
of the league producing players that come to my team. Just like I am on the league that produces teams that come to the Texas Rangers.
I'm just saying I can't really get into being a fan of a minor league team that's not necessarily trying to win every game. It's
I
more
don't.
about showcasing talent than it is
Okay.
winning games. And
Well, that's maybe one of our key differences. I love minor league ball and pro football that isn't $1 million I have to go park and $1 million I have to go see and all. And yes, I'm exaggerating. I love all those things.
well,
Uh,
you like it because it's cheap entertainment. I get that.
I
By
also
the
like.
way, by the way, Washington just beat the Buccaneers to be the only team that road team to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
They
So
kicked the last second field goal. That's crazy.
I also like it. I also like it because the NFL has priced the common man out of being able to go to those games.
Yeah, we've talked about the fact that you don't like what it costs to go to those games. We get all that. But that doesn't mean you're not a fan of the teams, you're a fan of the players in
No,
the smaller
I,
leagues.
I'm a fan of. Well, I pick a team because there are some of those players that are like, for instance, St. Louis Battlehawks has AJ McCarron on it. He went to Alabama. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. He's the 2-time MVP of the Battlehawks of what was the USFL now is the UFL. So
Like I
therefore,
said, you're a fan of the player, not the team.
I root for that player.
You can root for the team, but you're a fan of the player.
My favorite team is my home team, which is Bob Stoops is the head coach of. He's the coach at Arlington Renegades. So therefore,
Be a Bob Stoops fan as well, and not have to be a fan of the team.
well, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the league, the team, the owners of the league. I'm a fan of the coaches. I'm a fan of the fun of the idea of the league. I'm a fan of how they do penalties. I'm a fan of how they do replay. I'm a fan of a bunch of stuff about that league. Just saying.
Necessarily a fan of the team. I mean,
I am a fan.
It's all quirky developmental stuff is what you're a fan of.
I have a Renegades hat, and I spent $20 on it sitting on that shelf right there. Just like I spent $20-something on this hat. When I pay money for your merch, I'm a fan of that team. If I buy merch from your team, I'm a fan. And I got a Renegades hat right on that hat rack right there. So, because my money is hard for me to come by. So if I put it out on some merch, that means I like you. I would never buy a Texas Longhorn hat. I would never buy a Philadelphia Eagles hat or an Auburn hat. I would never. So, just say.
Okay. That's going to end up having to be a show bet that you have to do a show in one of these teams that you don't like headwear here.
Yeah. Well, first of all, for me to do a show bet that you'd have to beat me in a bet for me to have to. And right now, that's not the way it's been going. Okay, so do we want to move on from this conversation and go somewhere else?
Yeah, what you got? What do you want to talk about?
Well, there was a bull riding was in Chicago this week. PBR Unleashed the Beast series was in Chicago this week, and Brady Fielder, an Australian, not a Brazilian, not an American, Brady Fielder, an Australian. All I got is your back now. Why am I looking at your back?
Oh, don't worry about that. I'm doing something. Go ahead.
Okay. Brady Fielder won the Unleashed the Beast series this week, and now, and I think, if I remember correctly, John Crimber is still leading in points in the whole system. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I should be narrating what the ball guy's doing. Apparently, we're doing a DIY project in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah, well, I got to get this done. I've been putting this off all weekend.
Yeah, do we have to do it in the middle of our podcast?
I'm listening.
Yeah.
You just go ahead.
Could you make the fact that I'm talking about bull riding seem any more less important by doing something totally different than talking about bull riding?
I should have done this while you were talking about the UFL.
Yeah, maybe that would have made more sense.
Well, come on, line us out. Tell us what happened in bull riding.
Well, I done did. Brady Fielder won at Chicago. John Crimber's still leading in the points, and that's all bull riding.
That's all bull riding, right?
What in the possibly are you doing? What is in that plastic?
So here's the deal. When you get these, I got this as a Christmas present, so I'm trying to put it together, right?
In the middle
of a podcast, yeah. It's okay. I'll try to keep up. I'm not gonna miss out here. But look, see, you got these little mats that go in all the drawers. See, there you go. Boom. Put that on there, it keeps stuff from sliding around and gives a little cushion in there. So
this is riveting.
I know it is.
Watching you on the floor.
Anyway, so how about golf? Take us to golf.
Yeah. I would rather. I mean, I think people would rather watch you put down mats on the floor. Apparently,
no. Just go ahead. Come on, talk. I got you.
this is very distracting.
Why is it distracting? What do you?
So anyhow,
Let's
there
go.
was
Come on.
this week, and I hope people out there, if there are people out there watching, I hope you care more than the bald guy does, because all he cares about putting out his mats. Um, uh, the Sony Open, which was in Hawaii, um, and the Canadian. Um, I just went blank because I'm so fascinated by these mats. Um,
The Canadian. Hold on.
Taylor,
What about the Canadian? What are you talking about?
Nick Taylor won the Sony Open, and the same guy that uh, won the Canadian Open last year won the Sony Open. So now they move on to I think they move on to California for the next tournament. My God, I've never been so glad to see the last of the mats out of the bag of my life. Come on.
Hold on. Hold on. I like how you're excited about that, but I got I got one more side over here, the short ones, please. I got the short ones to do. Hold on. I'm multitasking tonight. I'm multitasking.
I mean, I mean, if people find this amusing, I'd rather you didn't do multitasking during the podcast. But if I don't have any choice, then cool.
You don't like multitasking? Come on.
Well, I don't not necessarily when I'm trying to talk about sports.
I do some of my best thinking whenever I'm doing other stuff.
Well,
Come on. If you would talk about something, we'll see where this goes. Come on. So,
well, I'm
all
waiting
right.
on you to
So,
answer.
well, let's
You,
go. Let's get back. Can we talk about NFL head coaching for just a minute? I mean, you kind of blew past that. You don't have a lot of opinions. But did you see that your boy Vrabel did go to the Patriots?
well, I mean, did you expect anything less? Did I tell you that the Longhorns were going to get it beat? Did I tell you what the Notre Dame game was going to be? Did I tell you where Vrabel was going? Of course, of course, of course. I mean, I give good factual information here.
He had a good
You
week. I'm not saying you didn't have a good week at all, right?
not to mention the fact I give good factual information. You give good DIY projects.
Okay, for everybody out there, I am more of a DIYer than you are. Okay, so the bald guy does have that between the two of us. If somebody was going to be do something themselves, it would definitely be me and not you.
Well, even if I was a DIYer, I dang in my Bray, dog, get away.
See, you're playing with your puppy, and then you're
No,
giving me a hard time about putting this in here.
I'm not telling him to leave because I don't do other things during the podcast like DIY. But teach their own. If you think your side of the podcast looks better when you doing DIY, then more power to you. But
We have to add in some ASMR too.
what is AM? What is that?
Audio stimulation, something. Anyway, it's like all the little noises and
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I have no idea about that either. What I'll say about coaching is, where did Jerry come to any conclusion on my McCarthy yet?
They're talking. They're seriously negotiating.
Okay. So in other words, no.
No, but Cowboys legend has thrown out a possibility that I'm a fan of. I don't know if anybody else is.
Well, you tell me, and I'll tell you if it sucks or not.
Okay, so Jimmy Johnson, about the coaching situation, he didn't have any inside sources or none of this, but he threw out a heck of an idea. And he said, well, really, things are stale in Dallas. Things are stale after this first round playoff loss in Pittsburgh. He said, with Mike being a Pittsburgh guy and Tomlin probably needing a restart too, what if they just traded coaches? Way about that one way or another. I mean, I'm a fan of it.
In reality, if that was a real thing, meaning something that could actually happen, yeah, I would 100% do that. But I don't believe for a second that that's a real thing. I did get posed the question this weekend that could bring up a good point. Do you, especially because you brought up Pittsburgh, do you believe Russell Wilson is a Hall of Fame quarterback?
No, I don't. But his Super Bowl wins will probably get him in.
Would you like to elaborate on that anymore?
Well, I mean, I just don't think his stats necessarily match up in the era he was in as being three or that much above everybody else. But I do think the Super Bowl wins and the little time of dominance that they had there, their run, I think he gets in just because of those few years that they had together there that were really strong.
Okay. Well, me and you're pretty much on the same page on that then. I had a guy that didn't think he'd get in, and I said, of course he'll get in. So, okay. Well, I thought there might be some debate there, but since they're right, we'll move on with that.
No, yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. So, seeing how Jerry hasn't picked a quarterback yet, of the available names, are you still wanting to stay with McCarthy?
Okay, you say quarterback, coach, you mean?
Coach, I mean, and I say,
okay.
I wish quarterback, but no, coach. Did you still want to stay with McCarthy, or did you want to move on to a different candidate?
I'd be okay with the Tomlin McCarthy swap, the possibility. I'm okay running it back. Does maybe making some off-season moves and not expecting our young offensive line to be able to operate at a Pro Bowl level, not expecting a lot of these rookies to contribute. Let's go and get some more talent in here. If you do that with the same coaching staff, I'm okay. I think there's probably some shakeup in the coaching staff either way. I think you're going to see, I don't know if Zimmer stays. I think maybe he can for one more year. But these guys coaching on a one-year deal again, first of all, McCarthy's going to sign multi-years. Got you. There's no way he comes back on like a one-year deal. I would say it's either got to be 4 or 5, maybe as short as 3. But at 3, he's going to have to pay. Jerry's going to have to pay him more than what he wants to.
Okay. I can get along with that. All right. We're picking. This kind of goes together. We're picking number 12 in the draft. What do you think the number one need for the Cowboys going in the draft? What is their number one need going into this draft? Is it after last year? Is it running back? Is it offensive line? Is it?
I think need is probably offensive line, then running back, because it doesn't do you any good to get a running back if your offensive line isn't going to help them out. And you've got a franchise quarterback that's been hurt a few times now, so you need to get better protection. I kind of look at now you have to build the team kind of the way you were at the end of Romo's career. So the team Dak started with is more the team Dak needs now with a better defense.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We give them a bunch of crap and we are down on them, but really and truly, probably 10, 15 plays that go different the course of a year, it's their 10 wins season again and probably make the playoffs. And, well, they may not unless they win their division. But you know what I'm saying? Like a 10-win team versus where we're at right now, it's a little better. You feel better about the team, and we're not questioning everything as much as kind of we are after Dak went down and everything fell apart.
Yeah. Okay. So, where does that?
That puts us right where we're always going to be. Is we're going to do status quo, more of the same, and we'll keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Is pretty much where we're at.
You're talking about the Cowboys?
Yeah, that's a lot for the Cowboy fans out there. That's where we live at. Is we do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, get hyped up every year, think we're going to make a run, and then you may do pretty good, but you're not going to go very far in the playoffs.
Okay. Well, all right. So who do you, did we pick two? Who we got in the Super Bowl yet?
No, we have not picked any of the NFL playoff games.
Well, so who's is what this was the end of wild card weekend, wasn't it?
Yep.
So now we're on to the divisional matches.
Yeah. This was a wild card weekend, and the only wild card team that won this whole weekend was
Was who? Washington. So doesn't that mean that this is so embarrassing that the NFC Championship game is all NFC East, doesn't it?
no, it doesn't have to be. It could be.
No, division round. So who's left? Detroit. Is Minnesota left?
So right now, Washington's going to play Philly.
Yeah. All NFC East.
Oh, hold on. No, Washington is going to play Detroit.
Okay.
The winner of Rams Vikings tonight will play Philly.
Okay. I see.
You could get an NFC East
Divi-
game.
yeah, championship game. You could. And that would be totally embarrassing. Yeah, 2 out of the 4 teams in the NFC East are currently in the playoffs, and Dallas ain't one of them. That's embarrassing.
Well, but you could just as easily have if the Vikings win tomorrow night and then they go beat Philly. You could see a rematch of Detroit and Minnesota from the last week of the regular season, which
Yeah.
was a destruction, all out destruction. And you're going to see if Minnesota just had nerves and they come back, or if Philly has their number and they don't have a chance.
And then the other side has got a lot of teams. It's got a lot of teams, and the only team I really care about until they get beat is Kansas City.
Kansas City will play Houston next week, and then the Bills and Ravens will play.
Yeah, and I think Kansas City will win again, and I think the Ravens will win that game. I think Kansas City will beat the Ravens. I think Kansas City right back to the Super Bowl.
A lot of people really thought that Chargers were going to beat. They didn't think Houston was playing very good football.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think Rex Ryan even run his mouth and said that the Chargers lucked into a bye this week, having to play Houston.
Yeah.
Herbert throws 4 interceptions, which in their defense, I think that's one more interception than he's thrown all year. But he threw 4 of them in the playoff game, and it did not go well for him.
So right now, my Super Bowl boils down to this. I have an all Andy Reid Super Bowl.
Really? So you've got the Eagles going against Kansas City.
All Andy Reid.
I don't know if that's going to happen, man.
Well, I'm not saying it is going to happen. That's why it's a guess.
I don't really want to see the Eagles do well enough for that to happen.
Well, I don't either. But I also like Randy Galloway used to say, I also watch the damn games. And the best 2 teams, top to bottom to me, as long as Patrick Mahomes is on Kansas City and Saquon Barkley is on Philadelphia, the best 2 teams in my eyes are Philadelphia and Kansas City.
Do you think Philadelphia is better than Detroit?
Yes, especially with all of Detroit's injuries.
Doesn't help, but it's crazy if Philadelphia goes to the Super Bowl, having a down year last year, with previous offensive coordinator from the Cowboys and the previous running back from the Giants.
It ain't crazy to me. To me, it's good. It's good general managing and good coaching. Jeffrey Lurie, which I can name, and I think that is he the owner or the general manager? I think he's the GM, but I can't be positive about that. And then, of course, the head coach is Sirianni. So, therefore, we'll see. That's what my picks are. Until otherwise out of the tournament, I'm going with KC and Philly in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to go with Detroit making it back. I could see a year where Detroit actually does something good and Notre Dame wins the national title. And that's kind of two teams that hadn't won the big one in a long time.
Okay. Okay. So, do we need to pick the national championship game? When is that game?
A week from Monday, I think.
So we might as well go ahead and pick it just in case.
Yeah. What do you want to pick it? I don't know what the line is on it, but
We'll just pick a straight up game. I'm gonna take Ohio State to win.
take Ohio State too. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be within a touchdown, probably 7 points or less. But I think Ohio State wins that ball game.
Okay. Let me think. What else? What else is there? Is there anything else that I'm forgetting?
I think that's it, man. I think that's
No.
just about it.
The reason we're not talking much NBA basketball, the Mavericks right now, or even necessarily the Stars. Stars, I didn't get an update on, and the Mavericks, two big two, have been on the bench and will continue to be on the bench. It's looking like now to after the All-Star break, so it is what it is.
They ought to be rested for the playoff push.
Well, if they ain't too deep in a hole, they will be.
Nah, we'll be fine.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Speaking of that, you've got to talk to the hockey intern and get him to step up his game because we hadn't got a hockey report all year.
Yeah. Well, he's not doing. He's right now. He's having to do a day job, so he's not into hockey right now.
Well, you better talk to him.
Well, I will, but remember, he's paid out of my end, and my end shrank. So
Okay. Well, you hurry up and start pushing him a little bit. We need to get that. We'll increase incentives. I mean, we'll give him more airtime if he comes on with it. Huh?
I had to give him some of your money.
Some of my money?
Yeah.
Man, if I had your money, I'd throw all mine away.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, I ain't got nothing else. Are you good?
That's it. All right. We'll see you guys next week. It's a new year. Whether I've got stuff I need to be doing around the house, like getting my new toolbox ready, or whatever the Fat Boy's got going on, we're going to try to come and put an episode out every week.
I'm going to try to prevent him doing that during the show next week. We'll see if I can make that work.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Roll Tide.